Hi, I'm Warrick from Harder Steenbeck, and we're back here again in our beautiful factory to take you on the journey that our raw material starts as raw bar and finally becomes one of our beautiful airbrushes that we so much enjoy selling to you guys, so that you can create all of the amazing art that you do. So come with me and I'll take you through the journey from raw materials right through to a finished airbrush. So over here, the first step that happens is we have all of our raw materials moving into the machine shop. Now this is something that we're super proud of. We think that we do have the best machine shop in the business now, and it's represented by these 10 machines here, all of which are Swiss lathes. In other words, they use long bar, about 3 meters long, and they can mill and turn operations into these bars to give us all of the phenomenal detailing that you see in our 2024 airbrushes. We've got another 2 machines coming later on in the year, which is going to give us even more capability on some of the very special parts that are being introduced on our new Infinity 2024. Over here, for example, we have a machine that all day and all night produces your air caps. And the next machine along, all day and all night, is solely responsible for producing the new specification of nozzles that you're now enjoying in the 2024 airbrushes. And as we go further down, right now we've got various parts that we're running. Over here, for example, we're running the trigger for your Evolution 2024s. On the next machine along, we're running some special parts for the Infinity launch. Over here, we're running the air valve bodies that we use on all of the airbrushes. Those have also been modified for 2024 and optimized. Over here, we've got the Ultra 2024 bodies. Over there, we've got some of the cups being run for the new Infinities that we're making. And on the machines in the corner, various of the smaller parts like the needle guides, the air valve screw, and things like that. So everything happening all of the time in here, thanks to our incredible team of machinists that are responsible for cutting metal to make the beautiful airbrushes that we love to sell to you guys. Now the parts have been cut, they've been machined, and they're ready for the next step, which is when they come through into this part of the building. And this is where we need to clean them. So what we need to do is we need to not only remove the oil that's on the parts after the machining process, but all of the microscopic pieces of metal that have been cut and removed from the parts. The machine that does that is this big hulking box over here. It's really pretty remarkable. It uses vaporized alcohol to fully clean the parts. And what we love about this machine is that even though it uses quite a heavy duty chemical, a 100% isopropyl alcohol, we recover all of it fully, and we distill the oil out from that, and we reclaim both the oil and the alcohol. And so this is one of the things that we really love about this machine, and it does kind of embody our approach to manufacturing in general. We want the absolute best, but we need to find the solutions that enable us to do it in a very efficient manner and also with no adverse impact on the environment around us. For example, all of the energy that we use in our building is only sourced from renewables. And so now I'm going to let you into our technical office. This is where we evaluate all of the parts before they go on to any of the next processes. Here we're able to measure down to 0.001 of a millimeter, not only dimensionally, but also in the concentricity of how circular parts fit within each other. For example, a nozzle inside of an air cap. I'm going to move through here fairly quickly because there are some machines in here that we don't want to share with everybody. So if you follow me, you also have to take my word that what we do in here is we make sure that everything that you're going to get from us is toleranced and measured and controlled to as close to perfection as we can get. So now we're in basically our warehousing part of the business, and this is where we warehouse all of the compressors, paints, packaging, all these things that we also need to get the products that we make to you. And over here is something really cool. This here is one of the very first lathes that we had in the company. This year we are 101 years old, and this one isn't quite that old, but it's certainly one of the first ones that we had when Harder Steenbeck started up all those years ago. So moving back through here, we now go into the section where we do all of the surface finishing of the parts, otherwise known as the polishing, basically. And so what happens in here, the best way to describe this process is just basically like putting metal parts into a large container which has millions and millions and millions of tiny little ceramic beads inside. And what they do is they vibrate. And the way that they polish the parts, it's like a million tiny hammers beating the metal until it goes flat, and the more it beats it, the flatter it becomes, and the flatter it becomes, the more shiny it becomes, until you end up with these perfectly finished airbrushes. So in order to make this video, we filmed it on Friday afternoon after everybody's gone home to keep the noise levels down. But ordinarily in this room, there'd be so much noise with these machines running. And I'll just give you a sample of it. When they're running, they normally sound, this is the smallest one, like this. And so you could imagine this little machine here is about 100 liters of stones. This one here is 250, and this one goes right up to 400. So there's a huge amount of parts that can go through there, but we've always got to be really careful not to put too many in at the same time. Otherwise they can contact each other, and then of course we don't get that perfect finish. The step that happens after that is we move through into the final stage of building airbrushes. Along the way, we're going to pass where we make our needles. We can just have a quick blip on that, but we can't show you too much more because this is actually something that we developed ourselves here at Harder Steenbeck. We believe that it gives us a more repeatable, more accurate needle tip than anybody else that we're aware of. So now we move into the final stage of airbrush manufacture. So we've created our parts, we've polished them, we've got a great partner outside of the business who handles our chrome plating and our gold plating for us, and the parts come back in. And this part of the business is where all of our skilled operators get to work to do all the final inspections on our airbrushes and put them together and make sure that everything is exactly as we want it to be before it gets to you. Now that we're in the assembly part of the business, we're going to go past a few of the workstations, and I'm going to try to give you a basic understanding of what happens at each. As we walk into the assembly area, we've got this piece here, which is a piece of artwork that we've just purchased from one of our own staff members. That's Marvin, who's actually our logistics guy, but he's a wonderful artist in his own right, and he's just launching his own exhibition career, having just had his first exhibition in Hamburg City a couple of weeks ago. So we're really proud of him and just wanted to show you that as well. So this area is where we receive our goods back from our platers, and you can see, for example, over here, actually these are some parts being prepared to go out. So this is the new smaller size cup that we've developed for those of you with big fingers for the Ultra 2024, so that's going to be out with you soon. And these are all parts that are going out, and then you'll see parts that are coming back in. You'll notice that here at H&S, we have barcode tracking of every single step in the manufacturing process. Now, what we use this for is to identify training needs in the company, really. So we're firm believers in the idea that if we ever find a problem with the quality of our products, we blame the process, not the person, because what we want to try to do here at H&S is develop our staff so that they become ever and ever greater experts in the art of building the perfect airbrush. And the way that we do that is by perfecting process. In order to perfect a process, you have to have a culture in the business where people feel okay to say, I don't think that went well for me, or yes, I did that, when something hasn't gone according to plan. And because we always blame the process and not the person, we can always then identify a better way to do it, take care of that training need, and always put our people in a better and better position to do what they ultimately want to do, which is to give you the best possible creative experience when you use one of our Harder Steenbeck airbrushes. So now we're at one of the Evolution assembly stations. Now, the way this process works is we actually build airbrushes complete. We do not do any batch processing here. Every airbrush is built from all of its component parts by one person from start to finish. That way, every single member of our staff is an expert in how every part should relate to the other, how every part should feel when it's put into another part, and then our people can really have a good understanding consistently of what it takes to make the perfect feel on every airbrush that goes through. So for example, here you'll see some evolutions coming together, and at this stage, we build them up to the point where everything is complete on the airbrush, apart from the head, apart from the front end, the spraying part of the airbrush. So everything is perfect apart from the spraying side. That gets done in the next phase. This is one of our laser stations where we do all of our engraving, and there's some cool stuff that's being worked on here at the moment. We've been working on the final artwork for how we're going to engrave the new Infinities. And you can see also here, we've been working on some cool artwork samples for the new Cult of Paint products coming out soon as well. And so one of the conceptual things in terms of the way that we manufacture at Harder Steenbeck that we're very, very proud of is the fact that the control that we exert on the spraying parts of the airbrushes that you might buy from us is identical to the controls that we exert on our spare parts. What we want to sell you is a contract, really, that when you buy one of our airbrushes, it's going to perform the same throughout its life as what you took out of the box when it was brand new. Whenever you buy a new spare part for it, we want to give you the same performance every time. And the way that we achieve that is we do not allow our testers to use their expertise to improve the airbrush. We do all of that work in our CNC section to make sure that we're making perfect parts right off the machine. So this is really where we see what we understand to be our application of German technology and German engineering, is we want to produce parts that are perfect right off the machine, the same. And that's our contract with you. When you buy one of our airbrushes, you're not just buying it for the moment you take it out of the box and the first time you put paint through it. You're buying something that's going to perform perfectly for you throughout its life. No matter how many spare parts you cycle through that airbrush, it's still going to be the same beautiful piece of equipment that you purchased when you first took it out the box. What you also get in our boxes is you get one of these test cards, and each test card is specific to the airbrush. So that test card will have been sprayed out by one of our testers, and it will be from your airbrush. We encourage you to keep them for a couple of reasons. One, there's a link to the instructions on the back from the QR code, but also because it reminds you what your airbrush ought to be able to do when it's brand new. So if you can't reproduce this performance, then you need to be looking at something. Perhaps there's a little bit of cleaning that needs to be done, or perhaps maybe even there's a part that's slightly damaged in the use that you've had from it. So do keep these and keep comparing your performance with that on the test card, because that is what your airbrush is always capable of doing. Once we've gotten through the testing phase, now what we've got is we've got a perfect airbrush that's almost ready to ship to you. It then comes into our packing section, and there's something very special that happens in the packing section. We've got a team here of people who have eyes like African fish eagles. They're absolutely amazing. They will pick up any tiny defect in your airbrush, and they are very, very strict about it. This is a tough team that we've got here, and we love them for that. And what they do is they give every airbrush a final visual inspection before they put it away in the box and shut the lid with the test card from that airbrush. We then have our sleeve put over it. It then goes to our shrink wrapping machine. And then when you receive that shrink wrap, you know that the last people that touched your airbrush was this wonderful final inspection team that we have here at Harder Steenbeck. Once that's been done, it goes into our distribution system, which is this incredible lift system. And what these do is they enable us to store a huge amount of our small parts in a very, very space efficient way. There's two layers, two sides of shelves that are stacked very closely to each other within these automatic machines. And what it enables us to do is to store everything in a cool, controlled and UV-free environment. Hey, so thanks everybody for coming with me on this tour of our factory. I hope it comes over. I'm so proud of the team that I work with here and the work that they do. Every last one of them is absolutely phenomenal, and I have so much faith in the work that they all do to get you the product that we really want to give to you, which is the product that's going to enable you as an artist to realize your vision with the highest possible fidelity so that you can share it with the rest of the world with us, so that we can enjoy your beautiful creativity. So as ever, thank you for joining Harder Steenbeck. If you've got any questions about what we do here and you'd like to know more, leave something in the comments. We do answer every single one, and maybe even we'll make some content to answer the more pressing questions that you've got for us. Thanks so much. Take care. See you on the next one.